guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Today we're back here with Extra History. Tonight, we're going to World War II for this one, with D-Day Episode 1, The Great Crusade. So I figured, why not? I'm actually kind of curious about, just kind of want to revisit this one, so why not, right? Anyway, so I'm guessing this is, I'm not sure if this day of or planning, I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen this, so don't at me, I don't remember how this went. So let's check it out. Be sure to like, subscribe for more, hope you enjoy. Here we go.
When
Churchill?
the signal is given, the whole circle of avenging nations will hurl themselves upon the foe and batter out the life of the cruelest tyranny which has ever sought to bar the progress of mankind.
I do kind of like they added the
comes today.
I do like they actually added the Churchill message. Pretty sure that was it.
This episode is sponsored by Wargaming. New
World of
players
Tanks.
can download World of Tanks and use the code Neptune for free goodies. Link in the description. D-Day, June 6th, 1944. Months of effort have been building up to this day. Throughout England, 500,000 men have been gathered at staging areas to strike across the Channel as soon as the signal is given.
Down in
Men from
Normandy.
the United States, Britain, Canada, Australia, Belgium, Czechoslovakia, France, Greece, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, and Poland. Today, we'll be telling the American story, as best it can be told in a few short minutes, and over the coming weeks, thanks to the generous support of Wargaming, we will tell the story of 3 of the other major players involved. But that story begins with a dinner in Tehran in 1943. For the first time, the leaders of the most powerful Allied nations, the United States, the USSR, and the British
Churchill.
Empire, met in one room. For years, Stalin, his nation battered by the Nazi invasion and bearing the brunt of the human cost of the war against Germany, had pressed the Allies to open up a second front to the war by invading France. The British had pushed back, arguing for operations in North Africa, and then an assault on Italy. But now, with the USSR winning on the Eastern Front, the demands from Stalin became harder to deny, and simultaneously, everyone started to think of the post-war settlement. If the Allies won without British and American troops liberating Western Europe, how could they stop the USSR from claiming huge swaths of land, and perhaps even, at least politically, dominating the continent? And so an agreement was made out in the deserts of Iran. The Western power...
Yeah, fair enough. Though, if I was offered the choice, either the French landings or the Italy plan, I think it might be better just to hit for the stronghold of French. Because, remember, that was where Hitler struck first. So, take that out. Hitler doesn't have a lot of resources to run. But I do see the idea behind the Italy landings since... Well, I mean, I covered them before. Operation Overlord, if I remember correctly. Well, I'll double check that one later. So you can see why, since Italy's kind of fallen apart to the point that they actually kicked out Mussolini. I'm not kidding, you can look it up. So, yeah, I think, if I remember, they tried that first, but when that bogged down, they went D-Day. Which begs the question, though, if they kept going the Italian route, what do you think would have happened? I don't know, but I guess opening one last front ought to do it, I mean, you got Russia on one side, you got the Italian thing bogging down, and now you got an invasion of France. So, yeah, basically triple-pronged assault, so that's a good way to do it. Anyway...
would open up a second front by invading France in May of 1944. Plans were drawn up. An amphibious operation of this size had never been tried. Men and material would have to be drawn back from around the world. New technologies would have to be invented. Engineering feats previously only discussed in conference rooms would have to be put to the test under wartime conditions. But the first decision that had to be made was where to land. There were 2 possible targets: Calais, the closest point in Europe to England, or Normandy, one of the farthest on the Channel coast. Calais was the sane, sensible place to land, but it had 2 notable disadvantages. First, terrain in which you could easily get bogged down, and second, the fact that it was the sane, sensible place to land. Reviewing the battle plan, Eisenhower and Montgomery were in agreement. They wanted the element of surprise, with the possibility of being able to rush off the beaches. So the decision was made. Normandy it would be. But this would require one of the greatest counterintelligence operations ever attempted to keep the secrets safe, not to mention the equipment and the manpower on an even greater scale. Entire harbors had to be fabricated which could be shipped over from England. More landing craft needed time to roll off the factory lines, so the operation was delayed until June. Finally, the day arrives, June 4th, 1944.
And I will say, there are a lot of things that go for it. Like, just heads up, we'll be learning more about the fake army they made. I think either second part, fourth part, I don't know. There are 4 parts, so, I mean, like I said, it's been a while, so I don't remember how many there are. It's either 3 or 4, but yeah, just let you know, there are a lot of options. So, remember, if you want the Element Surprise, you gotta keep it secret. And, well, long story, they took it secretly. Just, like I said, I'll cover part 2 in a bit, but for now, here comes the landings.
Planes prep, final drills are run through, tens of thousands of men board ships for the invasion, and then the rain starts to roll in. Soon it becomes a storm. Ferocious waves sweep the channel. Clouds completely block the sky. High winds buffet any craft that ventures on sea, land, and especially air. Eisenhower is forced to make the decision. The attack must be delayed. Rain continues to pour the next day. A council of Allied commanders is called. If they delay again, they won't be able to launch until July. They need to do the channel crossing at night. They need to do commando raids and minesweeping when the unsuspecting Germans will have the fewest patrols out. But for a crossing of this magnitude, they need nearly full moon visibility. Even if they did decide to brave a launch without the full moon, tidal conditions wouldn't be right for another 2 weeks. What do? They've got thousands of men already holed up on boats, getting seasick and nervous and just plain stir-crazy. They've already started moving equipment and forces into staging areas which can clearly only be targeting one place, Normandy. And they've had to alert enough people up and down the chain as to the nature of the operation that with each passing day, the odds of keeping their landing location a secret plummet. But to cross in this weather, that would be madness. Then a captain is ushered in. He's an RAF meteorologist, and he is about to make what may well be the most consequential weather report of all time. He says he believes it's going to be clear on the 6th. Eisenhower nods.
We gotta
the
launch,
operation
no matter what.
is a go. 6,000 ships begin to steam across the channel. Minesweepers fan out ahead of them, clearing a path. For weeks, the Allied forces have bombed the German Air Force in the region nearly to oblivion. No enemy interceptors exist to spot the waves of gliders and transport planes carrying 17,000 airborne troops. The ships won't reach the beaches until dawn, but the airborne infantry has night work to do. First in are the Pathfinders, the men whose job it is to light the drop zones for all the other parachute infantry. Of the 4 planes carrying these Pathfinders, one overshoots their target, another has to bail before ever getting to France, and the remaining 2 kept most of their signaling gear in the ditched plane, leaving them desperately trying to signal the paratroopers by waving flashlights at the passing airplanes. The paratrooper drop goes even worse. Scattered by enemy anti-aircraft fire and blinded by low clouds, paratroopers jump from altitudes that are either too high, leaving them drifting slowly, unable to do anything but watch as enemy guns spit shrapnel up at them, or too low, breaking bones on landing as their parachutes don't have enough time to slow their fall. They're scattered all over, many of them landing miles from their drop zones, some landing in marshes or rivers, others being slaughtered as they drop right into the middle of the enemy. It was a harrowing and confusing night of chaotic firefights and desperate small unit actions. But the more veteran of the American airborne troops, groups like the Screaming Eagles and the 505th, managed to pull together to capture crucial road junctions, communication points, and bridges, and even destroyed some of the artillery batteries that would imperil the landing at Normandy. And they would hold fast, delaying or preventing any counterattack that might sweep the impending invasion back into the sea. Then there's the initial bombardment. Allied bombing runs go astray, causing massive damage to the civilian centers in Normandy, but doing little to weaken the dug-in German positions. As dawn breaks, though, the Allied gunners can finally see their targets, and the bombardment becomes far more effective, softening up the beach for the initial assault. But there's little time remaining until the troops' scheduled landing. At 6:30 a.m. on June 6, 1944, the klaxons sound, and the assault craft are released. They plow through the chop, men huddled in their tin shells as German fire pours down, sinking entire landing craft to the bottom of the sea just off the Normandy coast. Then the assault craft hit the beach, ramps drop, and men charge out. But on Utah Beach, things have already gone horribly. The men look around them and the terrain's all wrong. They've landed on the wrong beach. Luckily for the Americans, the oldest man in the invasion, and the only general to actually join these ground troops, Teddy Roosevelt Jr., happens to have landed with them. The local commanders ask him what they should do, and living up to his namesake, he simply responds, "We'll start the war from right here." He correctly assessed that the beach that they'd landed on was actually a better, more easily takeable landing point than the one that the senior staff had assigned them. In a miracle of heroism and logistical coordination, he managed to reroute the entire Utah Beach invasion force to his location, direct the battle, and continuously rally the men as he walked the beach with his cane, waving his pistol. His new Utah Beach would be the first beach successfully overrun, and for his actions there, he would be awarded the Medal of Honor. Omaha, though, was a different...
Man, you gotta admit, like, if you went on Utah Beach, be like, hey, wait, where are we? On the wrong beach. Hey, actually, this doesn't work out. Attack the other beaches! Come on, hurry! Get in there! Man, I'm not sure that was just luck or just what happened there. Thanks to TR Jr., though. But anyway, next up, I think we all know what's coming up. The bloodiest of them all, Omaha.
Different story. Here, the pre-landing bombardment had been even less effective.
Oof.
The seas were choppy, landing craft took on water, and men tried to bail with their helmets. Some of the landing craft sank, and those that landed were filled with retching, seasick men. Much of the armored support that was supposed to follow them foundered in the waves, or simply got picked off as they hit the shore. Soon, the men were all pinned down against a small shingle of land that provided what little cover there was to be found on the beach. Many of the units had taken heavy casualties, and much of the command staff was dead. With units getting washed ashore in the wrong places, or scattered in the desperate scramble to try to get to the small ridge of sand that served as cover, the assault had become hopelessly disorganized. The second wave met with much the same fate. Hopelessly bogged down, withdrawal from Omaha Beach was considered, but it was the vital linking point between the British and American forces. As the day wore on, a number of ranger units began to rally and scaled the bluffs, finally managing to assault German positions on the heights. At the same time, several of the naval ships came dangerously close to the beach to provide more effective support fire just as the German ammunition began to run out. Even after all of this, Omaha Beach wasn't truly cleared by the end of the 6th. But as the sun began to set on those bloodied beaches, it was clear that the American forces were there to stay. Join us next time as we join the British for their covert efforts to keep the biggest invasion in history a secret.
Okay, yeah, like I said, so next time if we come back, or when we come back, we'll be covering the covert spy operations to basically think, okay, we are going to Calais, but in actuality, we're going down Normandy. But you get the idea. Actually, ironic thing, there is a short here on the channel that there was a commander there for the Normandy landing, but to think of the weather was, they won't bother. After my birthday, or after my 4th birthday, have some shoes. Like, hey, invaded? Oh, god damn it. That's basically what happened. Don't believe me, look it up. Well, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, adios.